Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I have a really super 3D project to share with you. It's a calendar, so it can sit on your desk for the whole year, and when you lift up the little easel it kind of sits like that on your desk, and then if you pull out the little drawer, inside we have some sticky notes and a pen, and if you look really closely I have added some decorative paper to that pen. So let's share how I created this. Now there's quite a lot of pieces and different measurements, of course. So rather than try and share them all with you in one go at this point, I'm going to put a link to the blog post below, and the recipe for that will be there. So this piece of card here, we're going to make the drawer first. That's the one that takes the longest amount of time. And this piece of card, you can get it out of one sheet of 11 by 8.5 because it measures 10.5 by 7.5. And I've put my score lines in, as you can see, and I have made a start at trimming the pieces out. And the recipe will have a diagram to show you which pieces. So I'm actually going to be cutting out this entire corner, and I'm just going to cut along the score line to the next score line up, like that. And then I'm going to cut here and here. So basically I am losing 5 pieces on each side. So here we go. You can see that I mark them up. So that it's easy for me to see them and work them quickly while I'm sharing with you. You can see that I put cut. You could just put an X to show which ones that you need to cut out. Then these 2 pieces are going to be tabs. So they're my box tabs, and I'm just going to put a little notch out of each one. And the reason that we do that is it takes the bulk out of the card when you assemble your box, and it makes a much neater finish. I'm going to just trim here because I've still got my score line there. My eyes must have been a bit crossed at that point. So there we have those. And then here, between this little score line here, I'm going to notch there. And I'm also going to notch between this cut edge and this first score line here. I've already done the other side, so only doing one side here. Now you're going to flip it over, and we're just going to put some double-sided tape on the, if you like, the front side of the box, just on those tabs. Excuse me. And then flip over, and you're going to put some tape on the 2 outer edges. So now we're ready to assemble, and you may have heard me say before, I only take a few bits of this tape off at a time because I don't want to be wrangling all of that adhesive, and I'm going to be putting my cut edge against my fold and giving it a good hard press to make sure it stays in place. There we go. And then number 3. Oh, this isn't being as good as number 2 at coming off, but there we go. So number 3 and number 4. As you can see, I already put in my score lines. You would need to just fold along all your score lines and give them a good burnish with your bone folder. And I'm going to do that on each of my corners that I've just stuck in, just to make sure that that adhesive is good and properly stuck. Then these side pieces are going in. So I'm going to put a good fold in there, and then this one will go in here like this. And you can see, hopefully, that by cutting those little corners off, it just stops everything binding and catching all in that corner there and making it bulky. And you won't get good clean corners if you've got extra bulk in there. So I'm just going to get the backing off here and fold that over, and the backing off this one. And you can see I did write on mine, so I knew which bits were what, but that's all going to be covered up, so I'm not stressed about that at all. There we go. Now these 2 end pieces, you've got these little thin strips here. They need to be outward. Those that will fold in, and these will fold outwards. So that again gives extra strength to the bottom of our box, like that. So how I'm going to do this is, when I made my sample, I put double-sided tape along here, and I found it very difficult to get it to go firmly into that corner without the sticky getting onto the bottom of my box, and I'm not able to finish the box properly. So I've pushed that in, and I'm pulling that little flap back, and I'm going to use some liquid adhesive, and I'll just show you. I'm only using like a bead, not too much of it. Here we go. I can show you how much I've used, and then I'm just going to pinch that into that corner and push that really firmly down, and we're going to repeat. And by doing it this way, I'm not going to get excess adhesive leaking out into my box, and all my flaps are in the places that I want them to be. So again, pinch that into the corner and push that down. Okay, so there we have a really nice drawer, and we're going to put a liner in it. Now I have chosen to use Fresh Freesia here along with Berry Burst. So these are my 2 colours, and I'm using the Masterfully Made Designer Series pack, and it has a lovely pattern in it in the Berry Burst. And so and this is printed on the paper. It's not like I've torn it or anything. It's just printed on the paper, and it should, if everything works, fit in there beautifully. And I think this is 5 3/8 by 3 3/8, and it doesn't have a direction, so I don't have to worry about making sure it's the right way. So there's my drawer liner, and it just hides the joins underneath there from those side flaps. I pinch my corners a little bit just to make sure that they're good corners. Now we're going to decorate the front, and I'm going to use another strip of this decorative paper, and I think this time it's 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to add some adhesive, and I think I'm going to use, oh no, I'm going to use this as the front for no reason. No, I think I'll do it like that. And you can see that I had just got a little border all the way around. Right, now we need a little handle. Now, when I made my original one, I just used a brad here. But when I did this with my class, one of my ladies, Victoria, came up with the most brilliant idea to put a piece of ribbon as well. So I'm using the silver and white sheer ribbon, and I don't want very much. I just want a tiny little couple of inches, I guess. And I'm going to use a white brad. Yes, so shout out to Victoria for her brilliant idea. And I'm just going to open up the legs. You can see that their legs open up quite widely. I'm going to scrooge up this little piece of ribbon, and then I'm just going to pop it in the bottom there. I'm going to use my tool here, hold it down firmly and squeeze those legs back together again. And so it kind of just gives a little bit that you can use the two ribbons to pull out of the drawer. So it was a brilliant idea. Really lovely idea. Thrilled with that. Now I've got to find the center of this box. So it's 5.5. So 2 3/4. So that's 2 3/4 there. In fact, if I make a little mark, there's, she says, oh yeah, I can see it, 2 3/4, and about halfway down. Now I'm just going to get a little piece of sponge, and I'm going to stick it behind there, and then get my tool, and I'm going to use that to hold it in place while I put a hole in there. And that way I've got something to push against that isn't my fingers. So the last thing I want is to manage to mess up my fingers. Right. So I'm going to position this so that the legs will open this way, like that. And I know my ribbon is like that, but I want my ribbon to be able to be grasped quickly, to be able to pour the drawer out. And then I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm really, really mashing this piece down really hard to make sure that my brad is as flat as I can possibly make it. Okay, now it's a little bit ugly there, so we're going to use a little strip of card. Let me see here. This is going to be just under 5.5 by an inch, and I'm just going to use that to reinforce the front of my drawer. Oh, there we go. Reinforce the front of my drawer and to hide the back of the brad. And there, my drawer is done. Now I'm going to put a little elastic band over here like that while everything dries and sets. It just sort of holds this together a little bit. Okay, so there's our drawer. We have a drawer. Now the next thing we're going to make is the box. Now I have a piece of card here, and it measures 7 7/8 by 8 1/8, And you can see that I've scored it, I think it's like 1 inch in, or 1 1/8 inch. Yeah, 1 1/8 inch, and then it's scored here at 3.5 and 5 5/8. And then all I've done is, like I did with my drawer, I've just cut up to this fold here, and I've just notched. Now, because we've got a drawer in this box, we have to be careful how we put the tabs. Now, normally we sort of stick the tabs inside the box so that they're hidden away. But if they are inside the box like this, when you put the drawer in, it will bind on that, it will catch, and the drawer won't go smoothly. So what we have to do is we have to trap those little tabs in between the side pieces. So I've got my tape on the and I have to trap it. I have to put it on the outside of this piece of card, this side of my box. Can you see? So that when this goes over, I don't have any tab showing inside. So let's do the same on the other. I only needed to put tape on one of these tabs, but I put it, when I made this up to save some time, I put it on the wrong side. So we only really need adhesive on the inside of the tab. There we go. And then we can take off here like that, and just making sure that everything lines up and looks nice and neat. All my edges line up. Pop my bone folder in there and give that a really firm press to make sure it's stuck down properly. And then we're going to take this here. Now this is an idea that I got from Stampin' Hoot. So the idea of using a little box and the easel on the top. So I would like to thank them for the inspiration. As always, we card crafters put our own little thing on these types of projects, our own style. So now, with any luck, our drawer slides in and fits really nicely. Perfect. There we go. So we're really happy with that. Now we're going to make a stand for this all to rest on, because it's a weeny bit light and a little bit on the flimsy side. So I'm going to make a nice solid base. Now I have here a piece of chipboard. It's 4 by 6, and I use the backing of the specialty papers that Stampin' Up send out, so as not to waste. And then I've got a piece of fresh freesia card that's the same size, 4 by 6. And then I'm just going to attach these two pieces together and line up the edges as best I can. Give that a good firm press. Now the box is going to go on here like that. All right, so I'm going to use some more double-sided tape. And I'm just going to put 3 strips across. What did I do with my card? There it is. 1, 2. And I've left the drawer inside so it's a bit stable, because if I take the drawer out, this is all a bit wobbly. So we're going to leave that in there, and that gives me something firm to push against. I'm going to run my bone folder up and down here. And then we can attach it. Now, you can either flip it over this way and try and line it up, but I found it easier to do it like this. And I'm going to have a small border all around. So I'm just going to gently line everything up. Now I'm going to take my drawer out and get in there with my bone folder to really, really press that down firmly. I think it works the better that way. There we go. So now we've got a nice firm base, and you can see that this is a lot more stable here. Now I have got a little overlap. I could always trim that if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave it because it's not going to show from the top. So there we've got our box, our drawer, and our nice sturdy base. Now we're going to focus on the top part of the box. So this is going to be the very top of the box. That is the easel card part. That's going to go like that. So this is 8 by 6, and I've scored it at 2 and 4. And you're going to fold it in half and put in your score line, open and fold it along the other score line like that, and then you'll get a shape that's like that. Then back to our double-sided tape. So I've popped one piece of tape on. Now we're not going to take the backing off of this just yet. I just want to put this on while it's nice and flat, because it just makes it easier. Now I have a piece of berry burst, and this is, I think, 5.5 by 3.5. And I have run it through my cut and emboss machine with the Countryside Blossoms embossing folder. And you can see it's got a really pretty little pattern. And I'm just going to attach that to what is going to be the inside of the top piece. Again, I'm using my liquid, but you can use whatever you like. And I've left quite a bit of a margin all round because I want to show off those lovely colours. All right. And then this piece will go on the top here. So, and then some more double-sided tape. Now you can use liquid adhesive for this. I've chosen to use tape because I don't have to wait for it to dry. But I would not recommend you using Stampin' Seal unless you use the Stampin' Seal Plus, because that has a firmer adhesive. Now, I'm going to take this out, and just for a moment, I'm going to turn it upside down like that. That gives me a firm base to put everything on. So when we've put this piece on, that's our basic construction. So then it's just a case of prettying it up. Now then, I'm going to hold it like this, and hopefully I won't get my head in. Hover, hover, Cindy. That's it. I think I'm good. I just want to make sure that I've got it hanging over the top edge there. And then I'm going to pull out my drawer again. And then flip this over and really give that a very good burnish to make sure that that adhesive is well and truly stuck down. And then in goes the drawer. So now we're going to pretty this up. Now I'm using one of the new products out of the 2024 January to May mini catalogue, and that is the perennial postage dies, and they are just they're just gorgeous. I just love these. You can see that they're just like giant postage stamps, and they are just perfect for putting my calendar and my greeting on this project. So I have another piece of the designer series paper, and the second to largest die, and I'm just going to cut this. I just need to make sure, because it's really quite close here, make sure it doesn't sort of move off of the paper. So we're just going to crank that through. While I'm here, I'm going to use one of the other dies in the set, and this is what I'm going to cut in basic white, just to put my greeting on. And I've also already ahead of time, so you're not watching me doing lots of die cutting, I have already cut one out of the fresh freezer. Okay, so here's my lovely piece here. And I have another piece of fresh freezer. This is the same size as the base, which is 4 by 6. And then I have this piece of berry burst, which is, I think it's 5.5 by 3.5, so 5.5 by 3.5, and I'm just going to center it up. Now this isn't embossed or anything, it's just plain. And I'm just going to center that up. It's the same size as the piece that we embossed to put inside our easel. And then I'm going to put this piece. Now, there isn't a die quite long enough to cover this, but this, I don't want to center it up because it might look a little odd. So I'm going to put it to one side. And like this, and set that aside for a few moments to dry. Now our little bit of stamping. So this is all the only stamping that we have, and I'm using the Just a Note from Go To Greetings, and then this Oh Happy Day from Kindest Expressions. I know it's unusual for me to use more than one stamp set, but I just wanted to have that Oh Happy Day. I just thought it was lovely to have that on a calendar. And when you look at it every morning, you can just think to yourself, oh yes, oh happy day. Right, so I'm just going to center it up on this piece of white that I cut with that postage stamp die. Like that. And I'm just using Berry Burst ink. And then I've got my Just a Note. Oh, didn't do so good there. Never mind, that's why there's two sides to a piece of card. There we go. I'm going to attach a little adhesive, and this is just going onto a layer of fresh freesia, like that. And then my Oh Happy Day is going to go here, like that. And now I'm going to attach it to the box. So I've already got my double-sided tape on there. And we're just going to line everything up. There we are. Just get my bone folder on there and make sure that that's really stuck well. And then we'll go like that. Now with my Just a Note, this is going to be the bit that holds the easel up. So to do that, I'm going to run 3 dimensionals along the length, and then I'm going to take the backing off, and then I'm going to put another dimensional on top. So I'm basically doubling up, and that will give me a nice extra bit of thickness to hold this quite large easel in place. So I'm going to position this where it looks good, and then I'm going to slide that into place so it's butting up against my card and it's centered here. Let's just pull out the drawer, give it a good old squeeze, make sure it's nice and firm, and there you can see it sits nicely up. Cool, huh? We have a final little bit of embellishment, which is our calendar. Now I get these from Vippies, and it's the medium size one, and it comes with 1 strip of adhesive, but I like to just put a second strip down there. And by the way, I'm not endorsing, I'm not getting paid to endorse their product. I'm just sharing with you where I get my calendars. There we go. nice and firm. More dimensionals. And I like to put one in the middle. I'm just going to pull this back in. And I'm just going to center this in the space that's left. And I'm going to get some more of this beautiful ribbon. And I'm going to put a little bow on there. And that will then tie in with the piece of ribbon that we've put on the little handle. Come on, that's it. All fingers and thumbs today. Right. There we go. Nice little bow. And I have videos on how I tie some of my bows that you can always go back and look at on my YouTube channel. And we're going to pop that there. And then we're just going to come and get some. We're going to get some of these little beauties, which are some rhinestones. And I get a lot of large ones left. So since this isn't going in the post, I'm going to use some of the large ones. I think I'll pop one down there. And then I'll take a couple of the small ones and add them there. So there is our box. There's one more thing I want to share with you, and that is how we decorate the pen. And so we can now take the elastic band off of there. We can put the sticky notes, and then this is the RSVP pen. Again, I'm not endorsing them, it's just that any pen where it's got a clear barrel that you can pull out the center is gonna, the refill is gonna work. So I have a strip of decorative paper here. And this is 3.5 by 3/4 of an inch. And I'm just using my bone folder to soften the fibers long ways. Normally we'd sort of do it like that, but I need to soften them long ways. And then once I've got that, you can either use like a satay stick or a chopstick or something like that to actually wind this around like this. And I'm just sort of rolling it back and forwards in between my fingers. Get that paper to roll tightly around like that. All right. And then it should fit into the barrel like that. You can use this to push it a little bit further in. And then we have our cute and delightful box that will sit on our desk for the whole year with our calendar. Well, I do hope that you have enjoyed this video. This one was made with Night of Navy, Balmy Blue and Country Inn Designer Series paper. Other than that, it used all the same other products. Well, I've had fun sharing this with you. If you've enjoyed the video, perhaps you'll go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Again, the measurements will be in a link below this video. If you don't subscribe, perhaps you'll do that and also share my video. And I will look forward to seeing you with another project sometime soon. Thank you and bye-bye for now.